Taking medication for high blood pressure may seem like the simplest part of your daily routine. You wake up, pour a glass of water, swallow a tiny pill, and move on with your day. Whether it's Amlodipine, Losartan, or Lisinopril, millions of seniors have done this faithfully for years. But what if I told you that the pill itself isn't usually the biggest problem? What if the real issue is something many people are never told when they first receive that prescription? Some people take these medications correctly, but unknowingly make small mistakes with food, hydration, exercise, or other medicines that quietly reduce their effectiveness or even increase their risk of dangerous side effects. Others ignore subtle warning signs because they assume it's just old age. And unfortunately, some don't discover the truth until they're sitting in an emergency room with dangerously low blood pressure, kidney problems, or a severe fall. Today, we're going to uncover what many seniors don't know about these common blood pressure medications. More importantly, you'll learn how to take them safely, recognize warning signs early, and avoid mistakes that could put your health at risk. Stay with me until the end, because one simple habit discussed later in this video could make a bigger difference than many people realize. And if you enjoy easy-to-understand health stories that could help you or someone you love stay healthier for longer, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Every week we share medically accurate information designed especially for older adults, and you never know which video could answer a question you've been wondering about for years. Let's start with Margaret. Margaret is 73 years old. Every morning at exactly 7 o'clock, she sits by her kitchen window with a cup of tea and takes her little white blood pressure pill. She's been doing it for nearly 8 years. Her doctor prescribed amlodipine after repeated blood pressure readings were much higher than normal. For years, everything seemed fine. Her blood pressure improved. She rarely missed a dose. She believed she was doing everything right. But gradually, something changed. Her ankles began to swell. At first, she blamed the summer heat. Then she thought maybe she had simply been standing too long while gardening. Weeks turned into months, and by evening her shoes felt tighter than they used to. Some days she could actually see deep marks left by her socks. She didn't mention it during her doctor's appointment because it didn't seem serious enough. Many seniors make this exact decision. They assume swelling is simply part of getting older. But here's something many people aren't told. Amlodipine works by relaxing the muscles in the walls of your arteries. When those arteries relax, blood flows more easily, reducing blood pressure and lowering the workload on your heart. For millions of people, it works extremely well. However, because those blood vessels widen, some fluid can leak into nearby tissues, especially around the feet and ankles. This swelling, called peripheral edema, is actually one of the most common side effects of amlodipine. Interestingly, it doesn't always mean your heart is failing or your kidneys are getting worse. Sometimes it's simply the way this medication affects blood vessels, but that doesn't mean you should ignore it. If swelling becomes severe, painful, suddenly worsens, or is accompanied by shortness of breath or chest pain, it needs prompt medical evaluation because other serious conditions can look similar. Margaret finally mentioned her swollen ankles during a routine visit. Instead of stopping the medication immediately, her doctor asked several questions. Was the swelling present in one leg or both? Did it disappear overnight? Was she having trouble breathing? Had she started any new medications? After ruling out more serious causes, the doctor adjusted her treatment plan. Her swelling improved significantly over the following weeks. The important lesson wasn't that amlodipine is dangerous. The lesson was that reporting side effects early often allows your healthcare provider to solve the problem before it becomes much bigger. Now let's meet Robert. Robert is 68 and prides himself on never missing a day of exercise. Every morning, he walks nearly 3 miles through his neighborhood. His doctor prescribed Lisinopril several years earlier. Like many people, Robert barely thought about the medication anymore. One particularly hot summer morning, he completed his walk, returned home drenched in sweat, and suddenly felt the room spinning. He grabbed the kitchen counter just before collapsing. Fortunately, his wife was nearby. The emergency evaluation showed his blood pressure had dropped much lower than expected. What happened? Lisinopril belongs to a group of medications called ACE inhibitors. These medicines lower blood pressure by blocking the production of a hormone called angiotensin II, which normally causes blood vessels to tighten. When that hormone is reduced, blood vessels stay more relaxed and blood pressure falls. This is usually exactly what doctors want. But here's what many seniors don't realize. If you're dehydrated from heat, vomiting, diarrhea, or not drinking enough fluids, the medication may lower your blood pressure more than intended. That's especially important during hot weather, when your body naturally loses more water through sweat. This doesn't mean you should stop taking your medication every summer. It means hydration becomes even more important, and if you're sick with vomiting or severe diarrhea, you should contact your healthcare provider for individualized advice, rather than simply continuing or stopping medications on your own. Many hospitals actually see more older adults during heat waves because dehydration, combined with blood pressure medications, can lead to dizziness, fainting, falls, or kidney injury. A simple glass of water may seem insignificant, but staying properly hydrated can sometimes prevent a chain reaction that begins with dizziness and ends with a broken hip after a fall. That's why it's so important to pay attention to how your body feels, especially during illness or extreme heat. If you're finding this information helpful so far, let me ask you a question. Which blood pressure medication do you take? Is it Amlodipine, Losartan, Lisinopril, or something else? Leave your answer in the comments below. Not only does it help build a supportive community where people learn from one another, but it also helps us create future videos on the medications you care about most. Now let's talk about something almost no one expects. Linda had taken Losartan for nearly 5 years without any major problems. She felt healthier than she had in decades. One afternoon, during a routine blood test, her doctor called with unexpected news. Her potassium level was higher than normal. Linda was confused. She hadn't changed her medication. She hadn't eaten anything unusual, or so she thought. When her doctor reviewed her diet, something stood out immediately. Linda had started drinking a large homemade smoothie every morning containing bananas, spinach, avocado, and coconut water because she'd heard it was heart healthy. Every one of those foods contains potassium. Normally, potassium is an essential mineral. Your muscles, nerves, and heart all depend on it. But medications like Losartan and Lisinopril as well can sometimes cause the body to retain more potassium than usual. In moderation, potassium-rich foods are often perfectly appropriate, but for some people, especially those with reduced kidney function or certain medications, consuming very large amounts or using potassium supplements or salt substitutes can raise potassium levels too high, and that's where many seniors are caught by surprise. Linda had always believed that if a food was labeled healthy, then more of it had to be even better. Every morning, she blended 2 bananas, a handful of spinach, half an avocado, coconut water, and sometimes even added a potassium-based salt substitute because she was trying to avoid sodium. She felt proud of her new routine. Her doctor smiled when she described it, but then gently explained something she had never heard before. Healthy foods are wonderful, but they still have to match the medications you're taking. Losartan and Lisinopril can reduce the kidney's ability to remove excess potassium from the body. For many people, this never becomes a problem. But for others, especially older adults or people with kidney disease, potassium can slowly build up without causing obvious symptoms at first. That's what makes it so dangerous. A person may feel perfectly normal while potassium levels quietly rise. Then one day, they begin to notice unusual muscle weakness. Their legs feel heavier than normal. They become unusually tired. Some people experience numbness or tingling. Others notice their heartbeat feels strange, like it's skipping beats or fluttering unexpectedly. Severely elevated potassium can become a medical emergency because it can interfere with the electrical activity that keeps the heart beating normally. Fortunately, Linda's problem was discovered early during routine blood work. Her doctor didn't tell her to stop eating fruits and vegetables forever. Instead, they adjusted her diet, reviewed all of her supplements, and continued monitoring her blood tests. Within weeks, her potassium returned to a safer level. The lesson wasn't to fear healthy foods. It was to understand that medications and nutrition work together, and what is healthy for one person isn't always the best choice for another. That's why routine blood tests are so important when taking medications like Losartan or Lisinopril. Those lab appointments may seem like just another inconvenience, but they often reveal problems long before symptoms appear. Now imagine another situation. George is 78 years old and enjoys spending weekends with his grandchildren. One Saturday, after helping assemble a swing set in the backyard, he woke up with severe back pain. Like millions of people, he reached into the medicine cabinet and grabbed ibuprofen. It helped, so he continued taking it every day for nearly 2 weeks. What George didn't realize was that he had unintentionally created a combination that doctors watch very carefully. Medications like ibuprofen and naproxen belong to a group called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs. These medicines can reduce blood flow to the kidneys, especially in older adults. When NSAIDs are combined with blood pressure medications like Lisinopril or Losartan, particularly in people who are dehydrated or already have kidney disease, the risk of kidney injury can increase. Most people never read this on the label. Many assume that because a medication is sold over the counter, it's automatically harmless. But over the counter doesn't always mean risk-free. That doesn't mean you should never take ibuprofen again. It means your healthcare provider or pharmacist should know if you're taking it regularly, especially if you also take prescription medications for blood pressure. Even vitamins, herbal supplements, and natural remedies deserve the same attention. Natural doesn't always mean safe. In fact, some supplements can affect blood pressure, interfere with medications, or change kidney function without people realizing it. That's why one of the smartest habits any senior can develop is keeping an updated medication list. Include everything: prescription medicines, over-the-counter pain relievers, vitamins, herbal products, even those immune boosters or sleep gummies you bought at the pharmacy. Bring that list to every doctor's appointment. It may seem like a small detail, but it can prevent dangerous medication interactions that might otherwise go unnoticed. Here's something else that surprises many people. Some seniors become worried when their blood pressure finally improves. One morning, they check it at home and see a beautiful reading. Maybe it's 118/72. They think, my blood pressure is normal now. I probably don't need this medication anymore. So they stop taking it without calling their doctor. Days or weeks later, their blood pressure begins climbing again. Sometimes it rises even higher than before treatment. Blood pressure medications control hypertension. They don't usually cure it. For most people, high blood pressure is a chronic condition that requires ongoing treatment. Stopping medication without medical guidance can increase the risk of stroke, heart attack, heart failure, and kidney damage. If you ever feel your medication is making your blood pressure too low, or you believe you no longer need it, the safest approach is to speak with your healthcare provider before making any changes. Sometimes the dose needs adjustment. Sometimes another medication is more appropriate. But those decisions should always be made together with someone who understands your full medical history. Here's another story that illustrates an important point. Eleanor had been taking amlodipine for years. One afternoon, she visited her daughter, who had recently bought a large bag of grapefruit. They squeezed fresh grapefruit juice every morning. It became their new breakfast tradition. A week later, Eleanor began feeling unusually dizzy. She noticed her ankles were swelling more than before. She assumed she was simply tired from traveling. What she didn't realize was that grapefruit and grapefruit juice can interfere with how the body processes amlodipine. In some people, this interaction increases the amount of medication in the bloodstream, making side effects more likely. Not everyone experiences this interaction to the same degree, but it's important enough that many healthcare professionals recommend avoiding grapefruit while taking amlodipine unless your doctor specifically advises otherwise. It's remarkable how something as simple as a fruit can change the way a medication behaves. That's why reading medication instructions and asking questions whenever something is unclear is so valuable. No question is too small. Your pharmacist may answer a question in 2 minutes that prevents weeks of unnecessary problems. By the way, if you've learned even one new thing today, take just a second to tap the like button. It really helps more people discover videos like this, especially seniors and caregivers looking for trustworthy health information. And if someone in your family takes blood pressure medication, consider sharing this video with them. It could start an important conversation that protects someone's health. Now let's talk about one of the biggest misconceptions surrounding blood pressure medications. Many people believe that feeling good means everything is fine. The truth is, high blood pressure is often called the silent killer for a reason. You can feel perfectly healthy while your blood pressure remains dangerously elevated. The opposite is also true. You may feel slightly tired, dizzy, or weak and assume it's simply because you're getting older, when in reality your blood pressure may be too low, your medication dose may need adjustment, or another medical condition could be developing. Your body often whispers before it screams. Learning to notice those whispers can make an enormous difference. That's one reason home blood pressure monitors have become such valuable tools. Instead of relying on a single reading during a clinic visit, your healthcare provider can see patterns over days or weeks. One isolated reading doesn't tell the whole story. But consistent measurements taken correctly at home can help determine whether your treatment is working as intended. The key is taking readings properly. Sit quietly for at least 5 minutes before checking. Keep both feet flat on the floor. Support your arm at heart level. Avoid caffeine, smoking, or exercise for at least 30 minutes beforehand whenever possible. Take measurements around the same time each day unless your doctor recommends otherwise. Small details like these make the readings much more reliable. And remember, don't panic over a single unusual number. Look for trends and discuss them with your healthcare provider rather than making medication changes on your own. There is one final lesson that ties all of these stories together, and it's something that could help you stay healthier for years to come. But it's also the mistake that many older adults don't realize they're making until it's too late. The mistake isn't forgetting a pill once in a while. It isn't choosing the wrong time of day. It isn't even taking Amlodipine instead of Losartan or Lisinopril instead of another medication. The biggest mistake is believing that because you've been taking the same medicine for years, nothing can change. But your body changes, your kidneys change, your weight changes, your diet changes, your activity level changes, and sometimes the medications you take alongside your blood pressure medicine change too. A prescription that worked perfectly 5 years ago may need adjustment today, not because it failed, but because your body is different than it was before. That's why regular follow-up appointments are so important, even when you feel perfectly well. Let's meet one last person. Henry was 81 years old and had always been independent. He drove himself to the grocery store, mowed his own lawn, and enjoyed taking long walks through the neighborhood every evening. He also disliked going to the doctor. "If I'm not sick," he would often say, "why waste everyone's time?" So when his physician asked him to return every 6 months for routine blood pressure checks and blood tests, Henry gradually stopped going. He continued taking the same prescription refills without thinking much about them. Over time, he noticed he became slightly more tired. Occasionally, he felt lightheaded when standing up from his favorite recliner. Sometimes he needed to steady himself against the wall for just a second before walking. He laughed it off. "I'm just getting older." Months later, Henry stood up one morning to answer the telephone. Within seconds, the room spun violently. He lost his balance and fell. Fortunately, he didn't break a hip, but the fall left him badly bruised and shaken. When he finally saw his doctor, several things had changed since his last visit. He had lost weight. His kidney function wasn't quite what it used to be. His blood pressure medication, which had once been the perfect dose, was now lowering his pressure more than necessary. After carefully adjusting his treatment plan, monitoring his blood pressure, and reviewing all of his medications, the dizziness gradually disappeared. Henry later admitted something that many seniors quietly experience. "I thought feeling dizzy was just part of being old." It isn't always. Sometimes dizziness is caused by dehydration. Sometimes it's related to inner ear problems. Sometimes anemia, sometimes heart rhythm disorders, and yes, sometimes it's connected to medications or blood pressure that's either too high or too low. The important point is this: never assume a new symptom is simply old age. Your body deserves the same attention at 80 that it deserved at 40. Now let's talk about another habit that can quietly make blood pressure medications work better: consistency. Your medication can't protect you if it's only taken when you remember. Many blood pressure medicines work best when the amount of medication in your bloodstream stays relatively stable. Skipping doses, doubling up after forgetting one, or taking pills at completely different times each day can make blood pressure fluctuate unnecessarily. Life happens. Everyone forgets occasionally. If you miss a dose, don't automatically take 2 pills the next time unless your healthcare provider or the medication instructions specifically tell you to do so. Instead, follow the instructions that came with your prescription or contact your pharmacist or doctor if you're unsure. A simple pill organizer, a phone reminder, or linking your medication to an existing daily routine, like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast, can make a tremendous difference. These small habits often lead to big improvements over months and years. Another point many people overlook is that blood pressure medication is only one part of the picture. Think of your medication as one member of a team. The other teammates are your daily habits. Regular physical activity that's appropriate for your ability. Eating a balanced diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Reducing excess sodium when advised. Getting enough sleep. Managing stress. Avoiding tobacco. Limiting alcohol if you drink. None of these replace medication when medication is needed, but together they help your heart and blood vessels stay healthier. Even modest lifestyle improvements can sometimes help your doctor reduce medication doses over time, but only under medical supervision. One question doctors hear all the time is which medication is the best? The answer surprises many people. There isn't one single best blood pressure medication for everyone. Amlodipine works exceptionally well for many people. Losartan is an excellent choice for others, especially in certain kidney conditions or diabetes. Lisinopril has helped millions of patients reduce their risk of heart attacks, strokes, heart failure, and kidney complications. Each medication has strengths. Each has potential side effects. The best medication is the one that safely controls your blood pressure while fitting your individual health conditions, kidney function, age, other medications, and medical history. That's why comparing yourself with neighbors or friends can be misleading. Your friend's prescription isn't necessarily the right prescription for you. One person may thrive on amlodipine. Another develops ankle swelling and does better on a different medication. Someone else may develop the dry cough that can occur with lisinopril and be switched to a medication like losartan. That's normal. Medicine is personalized. It's not a competition to see who takes the strongest pill. It's about finding the safest and most effective treatment for your unique situation. As we come to the end of this story, let's remember the lessons hidden within Margaret's swollen ankles, Robert's dehydration, Linda's elevated potassium, George's pain relievers, Eleanor's grapefruit juice, and Henry's unexpected fall. None of these people were careless. None of them intentionally ignored medical advice. They simply didn't know what they hadn't been told. And that's true for millions of seniors every single day. Knowledge is one of the most powerful medicines available. The more you understand your medications, the more confident you become in recognizing changes early, asking the right questions, and partnering with your healthcare team. Remember these simple takeaways. Take your medication exactly as prescribed. Stay well hydrated, especially during hot weather or illness, unless you've been given specific fluid restrictions. Attend regular medical appointments, even if you feel perfectly healthy. Have routine blood tests when recommended to monitor kidney function and potassium levels. Tell your healthcare provider about every medication, vitamin, and supplement you take. Never stop or change your blood pressure medication without professional guidance. Pay attention to new symptoms instead of assuming they're simply part of aging. Check your blood pressure at home if your doctor recommends it and keep a record of your readings. Most importantly, remember that your prescription is only one piece of your overall health. Healthy habits, regular monitoring, and open communication with your healthcare team are what allow these medications to do the job they were designed to do. If today's video helped you understand your blood pressure medication a little better, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, which medication do you take? Amlodipine, Losartan, Lisinopril, or another blood pressure medicine? And what's one thing you learned today that surprised you? Your experience could help someone else who is reading through the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share easy-to-understand, evidence-based health information designed especially for older adults and their families. Our goal is simple: to help you live longer, stay healthier, and make informed decisions with confidence. If you know a parent, grandparent, spouse, sibling, friend, or neighbor who takes medication for high blood pressure, Don't keep this information to yourself. Share this video with them today. One small piece of knowledge can sometimes prevent one very big problem tomorrow. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We truly appreciate every minute you've shared, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself, stay informed, and remember, every healthy choice you make today is an investment in a stronger, healthier tomorrow. Medical disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your physician or another qualified healthcare professional before starting, stopping, or changing any medication or treatment plan. If you experience severe symptoms such as chest pain, difficulty breathing, fainting, or signs of a stroke, seek emergency medical care immediately.